Hi, I'm Ralph Albert Thomas, CEO and Executive Director of the New Jersey Society of CPAs. And we're here at Crystal Springs Resort in Hamburg, New Jersey, and I'm with Sam Allred. Today, we're going to be talking about a couple of items that we have focused on in the past. They are human capital challenges for the firm and the M&A landscape. Human capital challenges for the firm. First question. We recently did a member research which shows that the career path for young CPAs is changing. Some are working fewer years at public accounting firms and then moving to a corporate accounting position, or they're electing to work in corporate accounting right out of college. Are public accounting firms focused on the front end of their talent pipeline as they are on their succession plans for the firm? And then secondly, what can firms do to remain an attractive career option for young professionals today?
I think certainly some firms are doing that, but I think a lot have missed the boat on that, how serious that's going to be. I think when we look at, I think many firms have looked and said they've had success getting a recruiting class their last 4 or 5 years, and they feel good about those people they've got. But I think they failed to realize we've been in recession, and the demand for those people has been less than it's going to be. And many markets are coming out of a recession, and firms are going to feel the pressure to find real quality people. And probably at the end of the day, we're only as good as the people that we recruit into the firm, because they become the future of the firm someday. So I think firms really need to get serious about what they're doing to position themselves to get quality candidates out of school. The challenge that many have is that they've been good enough having a similar message because the pool's been large, but as it gets smaller, they're going to have to distinguish themselves from each other and really stand apart. What is it that they have to offer that gives somebody an incredible career opportunity, and they have to find out what it is that they do that will set their message apart. A lot of it will have to do with their culture, the opportunities they present for somebody for rapid career growth. It's going to be a serious challenge for many firms to compete as we move out of a recession and there's far more demand for people coming out of school.
My second question to you, Sam, is there are 80 million baby boomers, and I happen to be one of those, that are getting ready to retire in the next 10 to 15 years. And there are only 50 million Gen Xers and Yers available to fill leadership positions. In your opinion, how prepared are public accounting firms in New Jersey, large and small, for the demographic shift? And then secondly, what can firms do to bridge or fill this gap?
I think some firms are far better prepared than others. You know what's really interesting about that is that we're going to see more partners retire from our profession in the next 10 years than we've seen in the last 30 years combined. We've never gone through something like that before. Many firms have never gone through something like that before. So I think it's vital that they really look at, really map it out, really do the succession planning that's needed to look at not only who's queued up for retirement, but really they need to look at their bench strength. Are they properly prepared to take over those positions and assume the role of leaders and owners of firms?
My next question is, there's a shortage of mid-level management talent at the manager and director level in public accounting. Some believe that it's related to the small size of this X generation, while others believe the shortage is caused by the drop-off in accounting enrollments in the late 90s and early 2000s. What can firm leaders do to educate, train, and motivate their millennial staff to assume these management opportunities perhaps earlier than their preceding generations might have?
I think the first thing that firms really need to take serious is that they need to change the measuring stick from the number of years that someone's had with the firm to really their ability and their experience that they've had. One of the problems firms have is that they put somebody out of school on particular engagements and they leave them on the same engagement. So somebody could have 8 years with the firm but literally 2 years of experience 4 times over. And so they've got to take serious the proper preparation of those people. I'm so impressed with this millennial generation. I have no problem saying they're far brighter than I was 30 years ago when I entered the profession. They're far more capable. They have a huge desire to serve clients, to grow, to be effective, to make a difference in the firm. I think they're more elastic than we give them credit. We can stretch them. We can challenge them. We can be more appropriately demanding and give them assignments. I think firms are going to have to get serious about how they stretch their young people to allow them to progress faster in the firm and recognize they have that opportunity. They have that ability. We're no longer going to have the ease with which we could have somebody be there 10 years, 12 years before we make them a manager in the firm. I think I'm watching firms be far more progressive in an experience level versus the number of years they've been with the firm, giving them those opportunities to advance quicker in positions and areas of responsibility.
And my final question in this human capital area is, surveys have shown that firm leaders believe that accounting grads possess the technical skills required to do the job, but lack the soft skills, communication, team building, and things of that nature. First, how important is it that firms develop soft skills? And then my second part of this question is, how do firms strike a balance between providing their young staff with soft skills training while maintaining their technical competence and just, really getting the job done?
Oh, I think it's vital. I've never ever been concerned that firms aren't doing a decent job of training their people technically, whether they're on the audit side of the house or the tax side of the house, any compliance work. I think they've been really good at teaching them the technical side. But it is the soft skills that will make the biggest difference in somebody's career. And I think firms need to focus more on that. And I'll add one other thing to that that's not really soft skills, but is vitally needed in terms of training. And that's that too often they're training people to become historians, and they're not training them to become trusted advisors. And that's not only as much as that soft skills, it's really what I would call business acumen. We're not teaching our people to have strong business acumen. And without that, they really don't understand how to be a trusted advisor. That's not really the technical side of training, and I think firms do okay in that area, but they need to teach them more of the business issues that business owners deal with so that they can be far more successful in helping be their trusted advisor. Because this younger generation wants to be trusted advisors. They don't want to grow up and be historians. One of the key parts of training is going to be more shadowing opportunities with leaders in the firm. A leader in our firm, one of the managing partners, used a phrase one time that just stuck with me, that we should never eat alone, we should never meet alone. And if managing partners can encourage those within their firm that are in a leadership position, partners and senior managers and managers, to always take somebody with them when they're meeting with clients or associating with clients or prospects in any way, much of the soft skills training that we need, much of the business acumen training that's needed can be taught during those shadowing opportunities. It doesn't always have to be formal classroom training. The other thing I'm seeing some very progressive firms do is make use of video training, on-demand video training. Because this younger generation will take their own time on their smart devices to view that training, to learn those kinds of things. So it doesn't always have to be classroom setting for training. And firms need to change their paradigm and how they look at training and how it can be effective, especially as we move to training this millennial generation.
Now let's talk about the current M&A landscape. A recent G400 report shows that M&A activity has sort of leveled off, and that we've entered into a period of adjustment. The challenge for firms to find the right fit is greater now, it seems like. We know that M&As have become a popular form of succession planning for firms, led by the baby boomer partners and MPs. But many M&As may disenfranchise many young professionals who signed on to work for a small boutique firm or medium-sized firm and suddenly find themselves thrust into a much different environment. What can firm leaders do to keep their young talent from being disillusioned following a merger or acquisition and help them feel empowered to make the merger a success?
Let me first respond to the first part of that question. I don't see anything in my interaction with firms, and I work with firms all over the country, where I see a slowdown in M&A activity. So perhaps there's a dip in that, but the firms I see and talk to, they seem as hungry today for M&A activity as they ever have. So I'm not so sure we're going to see a huge dip in that anytime soon. Second of all, I think firms really need to reconnect with their people. And I'll go back to a term that Jim Collins used in his book, Good to Great, Chapter 3, which is such an incredible chapter about people. Firms have to put those young people in the right seat on the bus. They need to give them opportunities to connect with the vision of the firm, the direction of the firm, the strategic plan of the firm. I think firms would be wise, and I see some of the best firms do this. They're asking their bright, young, talented leaders to be change agents in the firm. They've gone to them and said, we know there's things we need to change about the firm. We want you to be a change agent. Help us create the kind of firm you want to lead someday. And that's got them engaged, that's got them connected. I think firms need to do more of that, or they're going to lose some of these bright, young, talented people, because like you said, through a merger, they end up in a different firm they ever intended to be. That happened to me in my career. I was going to interview with a good regional firm that I had known for years on the West Coast, and when I sat down to interview with them in my senior year of college, they said, oh, 3 days ago we merged with Main Herdman. And all of a sudden it was a far different firm than I'd ever intended to join. You have to make that adjustment, and certainly I went in with my eyes open to say, what kind of opportunities are there for me? And to the extent that they engage you and involve you early and connect you, you can see your future in there. I think it's important that firms do that with these bright, young, talented people.
Sam, thank you today for joining me. It's been a pleasure to have you to share your insights on some of these key issues that are affecting the accounting profession and firms in today's environment.
Ralph, it's been my privilege to be here. I have the utmost respect for the New Jersey CPA Society and your leadership in that, and what you're trying to do to help our profession. It's been my privilege to be with you and talk about these key issues. Thank you.